Hey everyone, it's Lord Gong here, and welcome to Stellaris 2.2 Console Edition. That's right, I hopped it in to 2.2 the day of. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that my console was in rest mode, so it automatically downloaded the update. And I'm not going to uninstall and reinstall the game. It's, well, to be fair, that wouldn't work. It's not a physical copy. So, we're stuck on 2.2, which does make the sad news that I do have one pre-recorded episode of the GRF series already done. I will upload that either today or tomorrow. I haven't been myself for the last few days, so I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. It'll be the very last episode. I didn't know it would be the last episode when I recorded it. At the time, I still thought I was going to do the live stream. I ended up not doing the live stream, as you can tell. Some things happened. But beside the point, we are in Stellaris 2.2. Probably going to title this episode something like Why and How, or something dumb like that. Essentially, I want this to be the be-all, end-all tutorial, or at least guide, to how you start up 2.2, how you start Stellaris Console now. If that's even possible. I mean, I don't know everything about Stellaris. That's true for almost everybody. And I'm not as talented or as well known as somebody like A-Spec, who, by the way, made an amazing video. You should go check that out. Links in the description, along with another console YouTuber. Much respect for Ryan. I've watched some of his stuff. I don't know if he's seen mine, but I've seen his. Very good content from him. He's done some videos about 2.2 on console. I'll put a link to one of those or both of those in the description as well. But now we're going to get into my video about 2.2. Yeah, here I am. I'm telling you to go check other videos out instead of staying here and watch mine. But I'm going to start you off. Here's the start screen. This is the apocalypse art. You can see the Colossus in the background blowing up this here poor helpless planet, probably filled with Xenos. Who knows? I'm gonna run you through a few things before we get into a game and show you that stuff. New game, you'll create a new empire. If you want to build a brand new, you'll notice before I get started, I'm not running Synthetic Dawn. I don't have Synthetic Dawn yet. I'll probably have it by tomorrow. And so you're asking, why aren't you making the video tomorrow then when you have Synthetic Dawn? I'll just make a separate video. This video is for all the stuff about 2.2. Synthetic Dawn and robots are all by themselves, man. And that's just truth. Robots don't even use trade or consumer goods, if I remember right. So, almost half of what 2.2 does, robots don't just ignore anyway. Same with hive minds. But anyway, new game, create new empire. Something right away you'll notice is... Oh man, I'm so sorry. Is that the screen looks exactly the same. I'm not going to bother naming anybody. And you'll see right here on the name list, very first thing right away is we have a much longer name list, right? We have some human names. SPQR, what's that, you say? That's the Roman Empire, because Roman humans are a really big thing, if you didn't know. And then I don't actually know what the other ones are. Humans CM and humans UNE. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Oh, other thing, we have machine names already, by the way. I'm assuming that's just because 2.2 added the names, and then you can just buy Synthetic Dawn. Either way, you have robo names, so I guess that way, if you want, say, a technocracy with machinists, you can have robo names. Now, one big thing you'll need to know, most of your traits have been changed. Alright, that should be everything. Well, not really. You see here we're using a basic human appearance, right? Well, we have a lot more hairstyles now. If you were a person who thought there wasn't enough customization options in your Stellaris, well, there's a lot more of them now. That's the females, here's the males. Tons of hairstyles and beards. And also, just in case you don't just like being a white guy. There you go. No new species to pick as of yet, because humanoids is still a ways away and I don't have synthetic dawn. But that's probably the only thing I really wanted to show you is the traits, plus one other thing. Right here you have your civics. Almost all the civics have been changed. I'm not going to go through all of them because there are a lot of civics, much like there's a lot of traits. You can go through them yourselves. There have been a few new ones added in, like feudal society. I don't really think feudal society is any good, and it's more of a role-playing kind of thing, if you are into that. If you really want to get into how your empire works and everything, sure, make them feudal. One big thing right here. Oh, I don't know why I clicked on Gestalts. Where are we? I don't know where anything is. Syncretic evolution. Here we are. New thing 2.2. We can change what our syncretic species is. You can customize them fully. Give them a name. Choose how we name them. And even give them traits. Of course, they all start out with servile, which is a bonus to happiness, resources. They can't generate leaders, and they cannot be employed as rulers or specialists. Do remember that if you do have a syncretic species. The syncretic species will only be able to do worker-based jobs. That's the bottom level, and they also can't be leaders anymore. Alright, this is everything I did want to show you on the Empire creation screen. So we're going to back out. We're going to head over to a save I already have prepared. And I thought I removed those, oh well. See, this is what happens if you load up into 2.2 with the old saves. Now, you'll recognize this empire, the Suminese Heavenly Mandate. I played as them because they specifically have a syncretic evolution. Now, we're going to get here into 2.2's gameplay real quick. That's some nice art right there. Now, ignore everything you see down here at the bottom. We're going to start from the basics and work our way up. You'll see a much smaller and longer key at the top and key at the side, while the outlier itself is a bit different. We'll work our way out to that first. Here you have your basics: energy, minerals, food. Right here are your new consumer goods. Consumer goods are what you need to keep your pops happy, that and amenities. Now, you're asking me, what are consumer goods? What are amenities? What are these words you are saying, Lord Gong? Well, right here, you have a building. Civilian industries. You can read it right there on the right. It provides artisan jobs, and it converts minerals into consumer goods. Now, you may have thought you had trouble keeping up with minerals back pre-2.2. Well, don't worry, because minerals are kind of way more populous now than they used to be. You'll have a lot more minerals to gather up in 2.2 than you ever did back in the old version of Stellaris. So, you really won't need to worry about running out of minerals, but you'll need to keep an eye on them every now and then. Now, consumer goods basically are things everyone wants. Toasters, microwaves, all that good stuff, you know? Quality of life stuff. Now, right over there, right next to consumer goods, you have alloys. Alloys are the new material, the processed metals basically, that you need to create ships and a few other things. Like this little Corvette is worth 100 alloys, and this one worth 98 alloys. Now, how will you get alloys again? Same way as consumer goods. You have to have a certain building called an alloy foundry or its upgraded variant. You'll use these buildings and the jobs they provide to take more minerals and transfer them into alloys. Now, these alloys are quite expensive and very hard to find. As you see, I have absolutely no wild alloys. Well, finding wild alloys is very hard and very rare. So don't be expecting to find them out in the wild. You need to keep up with your alloy production, otherwise you're not going to have any ships. Alright, continuing on, the next biggest change that you'll notice from 2.2 is the planetary system. Gone are the day of tiles, which is a bit of a sad farewell to the tile system. You'll see here we have a selection of buildings, and some of these are blocked off. These are blocked off due to population. You will only get these buildings available if you meet the right population number. And then you have your districts right up here. And now they're very hard to see on console right now. I'm really hoping that someone over at Tantalus or Paradox sees this video and they increase the size of some of these numbers and some of these symbols, because it's very hard to find things on here, and there's a lot of text. This is I didn't know I was going to be complaining on this, but there is a lot of text here on the planet status screen. I would really like this to be simplified down a bit. Yeah, keep the helpful text right here, but like really needs to be worked on a little bit more. But anyway, back to the main point I was making. These districts here and these buildings here all come together to provide jobs for your population. Much like how you used to put a pop on a tile and make that pop do a job there, now your buildings provide jobs and your districts provide jobs for your pops to create material. You'll see right here, I have 2 researchers. These 2 researchers come from my research labs. They provide the science, and you can read right here on the right hand side that the research lab will take consumer goods and produce energy. That's 4 consumer goods to 8 base 8 base sciences, and I get 12 because my pops are intelligent type. So that's something else you need to watch out for. Every building, for the most part, will have requirements. Will ask of you to pay something for something else. Like right here, my temple. You used to have temples in pre 2.2, but temples now will require you to have consumer goods on hand to go into them. Your priests now need something to create the unity, create the society research, and create the amenities. Don't exactly know what the priests are taking and using, but hey, basically they make people happier, and that's all that matters. Now, one big thing you need to look at right here on your districts. You do not want to be building buildings and districts if you don't have the pops to work. If you do, you're going to be messing things up. You see right here, I have all these workers working down here in technicians, miners, farmers, and clerks. Well, if I say added another generator district or mining district or so on and so forth, they would shift around. They do that on their own. The game will try to prioritize where your workers are going and what they're doing. Well, how this works can sometimes be a little finicky, because especially right now I have a 2 types of pops on my planet. All of these pops will want to work a specialist and ruler jobs, while all of these pops can only work worker jobs. So what you want to do is provide enough jobs for only the amount of population you have or are expecting to have. See right here, you can see your pops growing in and how long it'll take. You need to be more mindful about the jobs you're creating and the pops that you have. Otherwise, you are going to have too many jobs with no pops working them, or too many pops that are sitting around doing nothing, not having jobs providing you more resources. Now that's just part 1 of 2.2. The planetary system itself, that is a whole thing to take in, but we're not even halfway done yet. Moving on to claiming territory. Now, I know this is already pre-started game, so you can't really see what I'm talking about. Claiming territory works system by system case. See, here we have this construction ship going to claim a system for me. Well, I'm going to tell it to stop. And now you see up here I have my influence like normal, and I have my alloys. Now alloys are you'll need alloys to create starbases, which will claim systems for you. You'll grab your construction ship, you'll tell them, hey, go build the starbase, and they'll go to the center of the star and build it. But now something you need to pay attention to is all your ships are traveling different than they used to be. No more of this popping into the hyperlane, popping out, and popping into another sector. No, you travel from this lane all the way to this lane to go over here to the center of the star to build the system. I didn't mean to play it right then and there. And that's going to take up more time, and you need to be prepared for that. Now, if that makes enough sense to you of claiming the individual systems, we'll move on. Now, if I'm not making anything clear enough, please do let me know in the comments. Please do help me out, ladies and gentlemen. Please do give me some tips or tell me, hey, can you explain this? Can you go into more detail about this next time? I absolutely will. I am doing my best here. If I'm not doing good enough, do let me know, please. Please do tell me what I'm doing wrong. Now, I believe that's the basics down. Claiming your systems, managing your planets and jobs and pops, and exactly everything else. And let me just go over a few things up here that I forgot about. Right here you'll see your exotic resources, or your advanced resources. As they are named, we have volatile motes, we have exotic gases, rare crystals, living metal, zero, dark matter, and nanites. These three you will remember from old Stellaris, how we used to play, the living metal, zero, and dark matter. We now have rare crystals, exotic gas, and volatile motes. All the other all the rare elements are gone. The Betharian still exists though. Don't worry, Betharian still exists if you're a Betharian fanatic like I am. Now these rare resources can be used in a number of ways. Individual buildings will require some of them eventually, and so will some certain ships will require them eventually. So you'll have to keep an eye out for that. Another very useful thing is right here in your edicts. You can use some of those rare resources to enact certain new edicts. They are helpful in a certain basis. You'll just have to look over them yourselves. I'll go down the list real quick. It just depends on what exactly you need them for. Now, once you get these rare resources, just keep a hold of them, hoard them, because it's not like you have one and that's all you'll ever need. No, it works now as a... Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. I thought the game froze. It works now as a... What is this right here? Exotic gases. That's one exotic gas, and it will add one exotic gas to the stockpile of exotic gas per month. At least I believe it's per month. So you'll be adding on to them. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling a bit more than usual today. That's the rare resources. You still have unity and influence, that's normal. Here's your science now. It's been moved, and it shows you the grand total of science and the individual ones you have here. Empire Sprawl. This is a biggie. Empire Sprawl is a soft number, a soft blocker to how big you're allowed to grow. You see it right there. Administrative capacity 50, and my Empire Sprawl is 58. And it breaks it down from districts, systems, and colonies. Adds to your Empire Sprawl. Right now my Empire Sprawl is higher than my administration capacity, so I'm paying a penalty to where my technology is 2.4% higher. My tradition adoption cost is 4% higher. These things right here, getting more of these guys, is more expensive for me. Campaign costs 8% more. Leader upkeep is 8% more, and leader cost is 8% more. That is expensive. You gotta watch out for that stuff, because now your leaders will cost more to upkeep. They'll cost more to hire on. It will sneak up on you. You have to watch out for the Empire Sprawl. That does not mean, however, that it is a be-all, end-all. Remember, it is a soft cap, meaning you can go over it no problem, and there are ways to mitigate that number. Right here in your ascension perks, I chose a different ascension perk, but if I had, right here, Imperial Prerogative is very different now. It is now Administration Capacity plus 30. Because we no longer have core systems, it basically gives you way more administration cap so you can grow larger and stronger. Next up here, we also have Empire Colonies. That's very nice. You can click it right here, and it'll open up the sectors and the expansion planner right next to it. But it'll show you where your the names of your colonies and where they're located and what sizes they are. Very helpful, by the way. Oh, and something I didn't say, empire size is planetary size now is not exactly important anymore. If back in the day you used to see a size 13 or a size 12 planet, or maybe even a 14, you would ignore it. You would really ignore it because they're worthless. Now the size of the planet only matters in how many of the districts you're allowed to put down. Size 18 planet, 18 districts you're allowed to put down. Follow me? Because I'm barely following me. Real quick, I want to check something because I don't remember exactly. Okay, never mind. Next, right up there, we have Empire Population. This will break down the amount of species you have in your empire and how many of them there are. And you can open the demographics page and look at it even closer. Very nice, huh? And right here is another biggie, Starbase Capacity. Proper Starbases are these ones right here in my capital system. Right here in the center, you'll see it right there. And it is also a shipyard. Getting to that in a minute, but here's a proper Starbase. Over here, the next system over, this is not a proper Starbase. This is just a small station. I claim, basically, this is just here to tell everyone and myself this is my space. It is not a proper Starbase. As you see, I only have 3. One right here as a defensive station, one here in my capital as a shipyard, and one way up here as a trade post. Now, we'll get into what exactly all those are in a second, but just keep that in mind. Now, how would you go about making more Starbases? Well, first you'd have to own the system of which you're talking about. You'll go over to the system, you'll go over to the Starbase, and you'll click Upgrade right here. It'll cost you, the first upgrade will cost you 200 alloys unless you have something to lower that cost. And it'll also cost time, of course, because nothing happens in a day. Then, of course, you can build your new defensive platforms here. Defensive platforms can only be built on Starbases. Remember that. Your Starbases are your lifeblood. They are what gives you the most naval capacity. They're what defend you. They are what collects trade. They are what builds your ships. You need to watch that number, and you need to be filling it as quickly as possible, but managing what you need. See, I'm full on naval cap, so sooner or later I need to build another proper starbase and build up some anchorages. Anchorages, real quick, are these buildings right here. They increase naval capacity +4. Now, you might not think that's a lot, but then again, I have 6 of the buildings here. If I have all 6 anchorages, that's a +20. Then there's another building, I don't have it at the moment, you would put right here, and then that would also increase that number. Okay, that is Starbases. Now what about shipyards? Shipyards are new in 2.2 in a way. You have to have a specific station with one specific building, a shipyard. You can have multiple shipyards if you want to. That'll increase how many more ships it can produce at a time. One shipyard produces one ship at a time continuously. Say right here, if I want to build... Oh wait, I didn't have to leave that page. If I wanted to build a few more corvettes, it'll only build one at a time. But if I had, say, 6 shipyards, it can build 6 corvettes at a time. You get what I'm saying? Alright. Now that shipyard's done. Next up, trade. Trade is another big one added into 2.2. And best way to put it is, you got stuff you like, stuff you want. Well, that's a trade good. Trade is most often found in the wild. Say a planet will be worth something, or it'll have something of worth, it'll have some trade. This little molten world apparently has something worth value on it. So 3+ trade. That's being collected by the trade outpost here in my capital. Right there, the trade hub is collecting that trade. And you'll see on the left, you'll see its upkeep, of course, and you'll see the collection range is 1, meaning it collects all the trade within the system it's in, and 1 away. Simple enough, right? Well, all that trade will then be converted into one of 3 things, or into multiples of them. It'll be either turned into energy, which you'll see right there underneath, right next to trade. 15.78 is coming from trade, or into unity, which I don't have that set up, or consumer goods, of which I do. 7.89 of my consumer goods comes from trade. Of which, how do I do this? How do I change this? Well, we're going to go to policies. Policies, there's a lot more of them now. And right here, you will see trade policy. Trade policy is how you manage what you want your trade to be. Do you want only energy coming from your trade? Well, we want wealth creation. That'll give you the most energy out of any option. You worried about your energy running out? Go to wealth creation. If you already have wealth creation, well, you might have a problem. Consumer benefits will give you both 0.5 energy and 0.25 consumer goods for every trade you have. One trade equals 0.5 energy, 0.25 consumer goods. Makes sense, right? Next, you have Marketplace of Ideas. This will give you 0.5 energy and 0.15 unity. That's very nice if you want to bump up that unity a bit more and try and grab as many traditions as possible. Now, everything else here in the policies section is about the same as last time. You'll see a few more here, like you can change how your robotics is, you can outlaw artificial intelligence if you want to. Right here, economic policy. Very important since we're on trade right now. Economic policy, honestly I don't remember how economic policy works. Right. It gives you a bonus to either alloys or consumer goods. You can have a civilian economy, which will give you more consumer goods and less alloys. You can have a mixed economy, which will do nothing for you, basically meaning you want, hey, whatever I create is what I create, no bonuses, nothing like that, please. Or a militarized economy, meaning you gain less consumer goods and more alloys. Make sense? Alright. Here you also see the food policy is renamed. We now have strict rationing, which food upkeep is down, pop growth speed is down, and biological pop happiness is down. Strict rationing is something you only want to do if you're running low on food or you don't have a lot of food. Make sense? Dietary balance is every pop takes whatever food they normally need, and that's it. No bonuses, nothing. Nutritional plenitude. Nutritional plenitude makes food upkeep go up, biological happiness go up, and pop growth speed go up. You want more pops faster and you want them happier? Well, go nutritional plenitude, but it'll cost you more food. Alright, good? Okay. Now, for the final thing about trade is right here. You'll go to your map mode and click Trade Routes Map Mode. This will show you where all your trade is coming from and what's happening to it. You'll see right here in this specific system, I have some piracy. Piracy is no longer like it used to be pre 2.2. It only matters in trade now. But you'll see that little amount of piracy isn't enough to bother my trade. I still am collecting 100% of all my trade. As you see, this system has 2 trade hubs. It's collecting all the trade here, here, and here. So it's sending all this trade all the way down this spine, down back to my capital, because that's how trade works. You need to send your trade back to your capital, and then it will become your energy, consumer goods, or unity after that point. Okay, now I believe that will be the last thing about trade. We can move on to claims. I don't have any claims at the moment, but you want to put down claims before a war. Unless you're in a defensive war, of course, you can then also put down claims, no problem. Except it's very expensive, and also these guys are nowhere close to me, so of course it'd be very, very expensive for influence. Now you're probably looking at influence and going like, I'm using influence a lot. I'm using influence to claim systems, I'm using influence to claim enemy systems, I'm using a lot of influence. And you are right, but don't worry, some influence spenders are gone. Now you use energy to pick up new leaders. You use... Hold on. Your edicts are... Some of them use unity, but for the most part, they use rare resources. Or these three, which I just got, use energy. Now, influence you'll want to be more mindful of than you used to be. Right here. Your factions. It used to be you'd probably ignore these guys, or maybe just make one or two of them happy. Now they'll always give you some influence if you keep them happy enough. Right here, my authoritarian faction doesn't like that I don't have any subjects. Well, I can't do anything about that yet, but they are still 70% happy with me, and there's 9 pops that are authoritarian faction. So they give me 0.74 more influence, along with the spiritualist faction. They like pretty much everything I'm doing, except I don't have psionics yet. So 65% happy. 65%. That's no psionics is pretty costly. But anyway, because of that, they're giving me 0.61 more influence. Every faction will give you influence. Try and make them happy now. And there will be a few new events that'll pop up that will give you more influence. Events now are much more numerous. You'll see on my map, there are a lot of anomalies. A lot of anomalies just sitting here. By the way, anomalies have their own thing here in the situation log. Very nice, right? Yeah, I thought it looks real nice. Because this is just helpful. Just having a big old list of the anomalies that you've found. Very, very nice. And over here's the victory screen. I don't like the victory screen, and I can't turn it off, or I haven't found out how to turn it off yet. Basically, it's a point system. And if you don't want the point system to bother you, or you don't want to be a part of the point system, just turn up that end date year as high as possible. Oh, that reminds me. That's something very, very important that I forgot to talk about. Of course, I forgot to talk about something. It wouldn't be a Lord Gong video if I forgot something. And honestly... one thing I was asked to talk about in this video. Right here, you'll see sectors. Sectors are something that Paradox didn't talk about in the dev diary. And that is a problem. People who were reading the dev diaries dedicatingly missed this because they didn't know about it. This one, I believe, is on Paradox's fault for not sharing this information. Sectors are completely reworked in 2.2. They are no longer self-created like they used to be. You can't just point at a planetary system and go like, boom, you're a sector, here's a bunch of space, do work for me. No. Every planet you control is basically under your control, 100% of the time. The sector system, whilst being here, can manage your planets for you, but not very well, and honestly, it's a very different system. I'll turn on the sectors map mode, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see this. You see this right here. This is a sector. I didn't create this sector. This sector is automatically created for you. This is your capital sector. And how sectors work is when you colonize a planet, and it's not within a sector, it'll make a sector. And anything 4 jumps away that is already not in a sector will be a part of it. See right here, from grind, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, these 4 would all be a part of it, or, you know, 1, 2 jumps away. I'll just see it right here. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. It doesn't go any farther. This sector is self-made, and I can, of course, let it run itself if I wanted to. You go right here, sector stockpile, click it, and you can turn it on. You can have the AI start managing it for you. You can give it energy and minerals to get it going, and you can tell it how to run the place. You can rename it, you can change the leaders, and you can even break off entire sectors to create a vassal, which is a new thing in 2.2, which is nice. So basically, if you're colonizing a lot of land, you have a lot of sectors, and there's just a good chunk of space that has a really big amount of planets, or just a section of space you don't want to manage anymore, that you conquered from a foreign ally, say right here, or a foreign enemy. See right here, if I conquered this guy right here, that planet is this capital is very well placed. Essentially, all of this right here is in one sector. If I conquered all of this, and I don't want to manage it because the pops hate me, or I just don't want to bother, I can release it as a brand new vassal. Of course, they'll be just like me, a authoritarian spiritualist, and they'll run things by themselves. It's very helpful, even if sectors are still broken. Even though I think right now the PC has sectors the best as they are, but they're still not perfect. In fact, we kind of left behind how good sector. If you miss sectors, well, I'm sorry, they're not getting any better anytime soon. They're going to be bad for a long time. And I believe the sector system is the last thing. Once again, if there's something you need me to talk about, see, this is going to be me for a while. The market. Say hello to the internal, or in the future, galactic market. These numbers are not as they seem because the market exists, and I can just say, yeah, you know what, I don't need this much food, I'm just gonna sell some of it, which will give me some more energy. And say, I'm running a little low on minerals, I'm gonna buy a little bit of minerals here. Boom. This is something you very much want to use, but only sparingly. Don't go in here just buying all the alloys. Don't go in here just selling all of your consumer goods. Reason being is that costs are not fixed. The more you sell, the less they're going to buy them for. The more you buy, the higher the price is going to be. Basic economics, kids. I hope you took that class back in school, because I sure didn't. But this is something very interesting and very, very fun. And eventually in the game, a event will trigger called the Galactic Market, of which case everyone will compete against each other, and whoever designates a planet with the highest amount of trade value. Say I set up my planet right here, Denise, as the home of the galactic market. I say, hey, my planet should be where the galactic market is, and everyone else is wrong. Well, then these guys over here say, no, 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 my planet should be where the galactic market is. They only have a trade value of 8. I have a trade value of 13. I win. Thus, the galactic market comes over here to me. And what the galactic market does is it gives you a bonus, if you have it, of course. If you have it, that market fee drops considerably. Also, it's just a lot nicer. It's a nice building to have. It's just fun to say, I am the guy who has the galactic market. It feel pretty good for a while there. Of course, then you can have automatic trades. You can be buying up whatever you need or selling whatever you need. This is very helpful, especially in the early to mid-game. You have a few too many consumer goods, lack of energy. Go ahead and just sell a few. Just sell a few, leave this blank, or say, hey, I'll sell 1 for 1. That's fine. It's okay. Or you can just leave it at market price and let the economy do its own thing. See right there? They're selling for 0.14. So I can't go and say I want to sell it for 2. That won't work. They'll just sell it for however the highest price is. Same with everything else. Everything else is selling terribly, by the way. You can go ahead and sell some consumer goods. That's for market price. If you leave it blank, that's at market price. Remember that. Then you go ahead and say, hey, I need some more alloys. I'm running a little low on alloys. Go ahead, market price, boom, like that. Now you'll see a little thing right there that's not highlighted yet because it's not available yet to me. Slave market. The slave market is how I'll just go ahead and spoil it for all of you and myself. You can buy and sell pops. That's right. You probably noticed that these guys don't grow very fast, and that you need pops to do jobs. Say you're running a little low on energy like I am, but you don't have any pops to work in the generators. Well, you can just mosey on over to the good old slave market when it eventually opens and just buy yourself some pops. Then, you know, free them, don't free them, whatever you like. I mean, hey, it's your decision. Your pops now. And I believe that is everything. I can't think of a single thing, except for maybe combat and how wars manage now. I'm at war right now. I'm in a defensive war. You'll see this war screen is a lot bigger and a lot more cramped than it used to be. Like I say, wars are a bit different now. If you're in an offensive war, you want your claims down so you can take planets, or you go to war for a totally different purpose. Wars are a bit different, like I say. You go right here, Oh, I'm already at war with you. I'm at war with you? Huh. Guess I am. I thought I was at war with these guys. Or am I at war with you guys? I am. Am I also at war with you? I guess I am. When did I do that? I don't even know. I'm so confused. Perfect time for me to say the end of the video. War is about as how it's always been. You send your fleets in, you break some systems down. What you want to do is you want to make sure you go in, you take the systems that you've claimed for yourself, maybe even cap a few planets with your armies, of which I got some right here. Right here. You may think that's not enough armies. Trust me, it's fine. It's fine. No one has any defensive armies right now, because defensive armies are here. I can show you right here. That's all the defensive armies I have. Yeah, all right. That's not a lot of defensive armies, right? It is not. Of course, it's not. Reason being of so few defensive armies and so few garrison is for the simple fact of matter is garrisons and defensive armies come from a building. Yeah, right here. You need a stronghold. A stronghold provides soldiers and housing, and it'll create defensive armies, naval capacity. It's also it's a very good way for you to get some naval capacity. Just a reminder. Check through those buildings, see what you need when you need it. All that good stuff. We're done here with the Suminese. Say goodbye to the Suminese. I'll be playing this after I get done with this video, more than likely. So, we're going to go back to the main menu screen, because, like I said, it wouldn't be a Lord Gong video if I had done everything right the first time. New game. We'll select an empire real quick. We'll go down to someone you know and love. Hey, it's the GRF. Yep. Look at that game details. Look at how much... Look at all these sliders, man. Look at all those sliders. Same galaxy sizes here. We still have small 200, medium 400, and large 600. AI empires are at 10 on large, and at small can be at 6. None of this is too different for you, except now we'll have a fourth fallen empire when you have Synthetic Dawn. I've already talked about that specific Fallen Empire, so if you watched my GRF episode, you'd hear about that. Oh wait, that video hasn't come out yet. But here you go. You can change how much tech costs. Very helpful if you want a very difficult kind of playthrough. You can change how many habitable worlds are going to be in your galaxy. Very, very high, in case you just want that kind of game. Or really, really low, if you want to make it very hard. Primitive civilizations, you can even change how many primitives there are on the map. Do you want a lot of primitives, like I do? I like a lot of primitives, it's just fun. Or do you want absolutely no primitives? I don't know anyone who'd turn this off. If you turn that off, you are probably a madman. Crisis strength, you can change the crisis strength. ×5 crisis strength. If you thought crises were hard before, my friend, you are in for a rude awakening when crisis level 5 come to you. PCs are working with crisis strength level 20 or something like that now. We are not ready. Here's the victory year, mid-game, and end-game start. Mid-game is when your machine uprisings and war in heavens will start, generally. And it also says Horde Crisis, but I don't know what they're talking about, because we don't have that feature yet in Stellaris in console. Endgame start year. That's when the crises will show up. Of course, our difficulties are changed. We no longer have just easy, medium, and hard. We have Cadet, Ensign, Captain, Commodore, Admiral, and Grand Admiral. I play on Captain myself. I feel like middle of the road is exactly where I belong. But if you need to turn it down to Cadet or Ensign, Commodore, Admiral, Grand Admiral, whatever you feel is most comfortable for you, please play at that difficulty. Scaling difficulty right there. Essentially, if you're playing on one of the highest difficulties, like Grand Admiral, the AI cheats. It cheats really bad. So you can go ahead and turn on scaling difficulty to go like, hey, you start with no cheats, and then you get cheats later. Essentially. AI aggressiveness. Just how mean is the AI? Empire placement. Same as always. Random or clusters. Advanced neighbors. On or off. And these ones are fun. Hyperlane density. Multiplies the standard number of hyperlanes that will be generated in the galaxy. This is a very, very interesting number. I haven't messed with it very much myself. Go ahead and just check it out. See what it does. Turn it all the way down. Turn it all the way up. Have fun with it. Just see what happens. Abandoned gateways and abandoned wormholes. I have some gateways and some wormholes in my space. And I'm not going over exactly how gateways and wormholes work. You can very much find that out on your own. It's very fun. In fact, I think if anyone, if you go out and find out, I think you're ruining it for yourself, because gateways and wormholes are fun. Like, you have some, you don't even know how shocking finding a gateway or a wormhole in a space right next to you is. And then just freaking out for the rest of the game, going like, okay, where's this go? Is it going to be abandoned space, or is it going to be, you know, angry devouring swarm on the other side? Twice my strength. They are really fun things to have in a game. Of course, you can go ahead and turn them off if you want. You can turn them off if you don't like them. I don't know why you would. Turn them all the way down to 0.25, man, at least. Come on. Guaranteed habitable worlds. You can now turn off guaranteed habitable worlds if you want to. You can turn it all the way up to 2, 1, or 0. I leave it at 1 for the little bit of fairness and a little challenge, and then Iron Man mode. But I'm a YouTuber. I can't turn on Iron Man mode. I could, but then you'd see me save scumming. That, I believe, is it. Nothing I want to add. Nothing I want to say. There is one thing I want to make absolutely clear for everyone who's watching. I only have one advisor voice, and I don't know what happened. Is that a part of Synthetic Dawn? And I just didn't remember? Someone please answer that to me in the comments. Please. I don't know why I only have the one advisor voice. And it's not even a good advisor voice. It's very lame. Okay, everyone, I believe that has been everything, but like I said, if you think I missed something or you want to know more about something, and I will be getting the robot pop video out as soon as possible, please give me some time. I have to actually buy synthetic dawn first. Please join me next time. I've been Lord Gong. Remember to like and subscribe the video. Please leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.